When I started on the carnivore diet almost 2 years ago, I gave up all plants, all supplements, all teas, and coffee. I was determined to do just animal products, but that didn't work for me. And 2 years on, it still doesn't work for me because sometimes meat just isn't enough. Hi there, my name is Sue. If you haven't been to my channel before, I've been eating a carnivore diet, or mostly carnivore diet, for almost 2 years. And I'm an all or nothing kind of person. When I dove into carnivore, I dove straight in there. As I said, I was quitting all my plants, all my herbs, all my supplements, and I was just going to live on animal products. But that didn't last for too long because I started having problems where I needed some other things, and so as much as I'm kind of on the spectrum a bit, I think, and I take things very literally and want to do things right, sometimes you just kind of got to be a little bit flexible. And one of my favorite sayings is be like water. And so that's been me throughout my carnivore journey, is being like water and going, okay, this isn't working. How do I manage this? And so that's been me. So when I first started posting videos about carnivore on the channel, and I'd put up something where I'm eating some berries or whatever, and getting the comments from the carnivore police, that was a bit hard to deal with at first. And I think that a lot of other people who are talking about their carnivore journeys online struggle with that a little bit as well. But I've grown some kind of thicker skin since then, and so I'm pretty good at handling those comments now. Now, like when it comes to some of our health issues, in my case, for example, I came into carnivore with a whole lot of things going on, but one of the longest standing things was my gut issues. I had IBS diarrhea for decades, and lots and lots of gut issues right from when I was a child. Now, I listen to all the carnivore doctors, and I love them. I love what they do. But I think sometimes the things that they say, a lot of people listen to them, and kind of take their word as gospel, and I mean, I kind of did it first as well. And, like Dr. Chafee, I've heard him say multiple times, just eat meat and your gut and microbiome will sort itself out. But that doesn't work for everyone. And so, if this is you, if you're like me and you've got gut issues going on and you're like, why are they not resolving? It may be because you need some help, and that was me. Like I was a year into carnivore and I still had diarrhea, and every time I thought that I had it nailed, if you go back through my videos, you'll see different ones where, yes, I've cured my IBS diarrhea, and then it would be back again. I'd be like, what the hell? Because I'd changed something, or I'd just upped the ante just a little bit, and boom, like every time I tried lion diet, I'd end up with wild diarrhea that just wouldn't quit. It wasn't just a week or two of adjusting, it just didn't quit. And there's so many stories out there of people's bowel diseases healing, like even serious bowel diseases like Crohn's and things like that, and they're on carnivore for a couple of months and they're good as gold. And I'm like, why is my gut not healing? Like, what's going on? What's my problem? Is this just me, or is it other people? But I know that there are people who follow my channel who have got similar stuff going on, and they're not getting rid of their bowel issues, and they've still got histamine issues, and they're not losing weight, and all of these things that aren't resolving. And while they're getting some changes, like me, there are other things that just don't seem to be healing. So the common thought with most people in the carnivore community is, just like Dr. Chafee said, just eat the meat. And if you're still having problems, carnivore harder and just do the lion diet, meat, salt, and water. And as I said, I haven't been able to do that because every time I do it, my diarrhea actually gets worse. And I know now that that's due to histamine, I think, is why that actually happens. But, I was watching a video with Mikhaila Peterson the other day talking to Ben Lynch, and I realized, like Mikhaila Peterson is the perfect example. She ended up on carnivore because she had serious autoimmune diseases, and that she'd had since she was a child. And now she's been on Lion for 5.5 years, eating meat, salt, and water, and she's not healed. She's not healed. She can't introduce anything back into her diet without a relapse of her symptoms. And so the eat meat and it'll heal everything doesn't always work. It seems to work with a lot of people, but I actually question how many people are just masking their symptoms, especially if they're on the Lion diet like Michaela is. If they can eat a Lion diet and all their symptoms go away, but then they try to reintroduce fish or chicken or eggs, or even egg yolks, whatever, and they have their symptoms come back, then their body's not healed and their gut isn't healed. And so that's something that really made me sit up and take notice, was when Michaela was talking and saying she cannot introduce anything, not animal foods, other animal foods, nothing, back into her diet without a recurrence of symptoms. Now, she's had issues with mold toxicity. She talks about that in that video as well, because she was living in Florida. She's now moved to Arizona to be in a drier climate, so mold can definitely play a part. But she was getting sicker, and she didn't know why, and that was because of the mold. So that can definitely play a part as well. But then there are things that you need to do to get the mold out of your body, so it's the just eat meat is not enough to get mold out of your body. And there are so many amazing stories of people healing their autoimmune diseases on carnivore. That seems to be more common, that it does work for people. But what I'm saying is that there are some of us who it just isn't enough. So after watching Michaela's video and kind of thinking about this whole thing, with some of us just needing more than just meat to heal, 2 videos popped into my feed over the next 24 hours or so. One of them was a video by Lily Kane talking about her health issues and her experiments, because she still has had, she's had niggly things that have been going on the carnivore diet, and then she's introduced different foods. She experiments with different things. I love Lily. I love her honesty. I love the fact that she's willing to chop and change and try different things, even with the criticism that she gets, because it's about her health and it's not about doing everything perfectly the way somebody else thinks it should be. And so she has the same as me with the scalp issue. I mean, my scalp issue started 6 months into carnivore, and I don't know what that is, and it's driven me nuts for 18 months now. But it's gradually getting better, but I don't know why I have it. Or what it is. I've tried all sorts of things, the same as she has, and nothing seems to make any difference to it. But she was saying also in there that she was talking about what she does and her change in that. She said that some of the carnivore influencers that she has interviewed on her channel, when the camera's off, they're talking about how they, while they're on camera, they'll put the meat and all the carnivore foods on their plate, and then once the camera's turned off, then they'll add the spices and the herbs and the condiments and bits and pieces that people get criticised for. And I thought that was interesting, because I kind of suspected that was probably the case with some people. And it's the whole thing is you've got this carnivore name that Sean Baker coined, I believe, and the belief of some people is that it's supposed to be absolutely perfect, this perfect meat-based, animal-based diet. Some are going, oh, dairy's not carnivore, and this isn't carnivore, and that's not carnivore, and it's just, my thought is that this is a name that encompasses a way of eating that is predominantly animal meat-based. So, if you're looking at your calories, and most of those calories come from meat, then for me, that's the carnivore diet. But, it's kind of, with some of the behavior that's out there, it's quite cultish. It's a bit like the vegans, where you've got this kind of cult mentality going on. And if you're not doing it right, then you're not part of the club. And that's basically one of the things that Lily was talking about in her video. And, she was basically saying that the lack of authenticity and honesty with some of the carnivore influencers who are making out that they're only eating animal products when they're actually eating some other bits on the side. occasionally is just, it kind of adds to that whole cult mentality, and I think that that's a shame. The other video that I watched was Bella from the Steak and Butter Gang, and she was interviewing Dr. Tony Hampton, and she had quite a few of her moderators and admin on there. So and Dr. Hampton was talking about, the nuances and variability between individuals, especially when there are health problems, and that sometimes people might need something in their diet at least for a period of time, different supplements or different foods, just depending on what they got going on. And so, the whole perfect carnivore thing is, for some is not obtainable, especially initially while your body's healing. The topic of Bella's video was basically about, they were discussing Paul Saladino and his switch to eating fruit and honey, and like Dr. Hampton said, maybe Paul's problem with his electrolyte issues, and that was that he was just exercising too much for the amount of, and wasn't eating enough food. Maybe he was under eating. I mean, I don't know what the problem was, and it's Paul's business if he wants to eat fruit. I do know that Paul has said something. I think he has MTHFR gene variations, so maybe that was part of his problem. It might be something that's genetic there that was causing his problems. But it's everyone has their own little idiosyncrasies, and it depends on our state of health, our how much we're exercising, how much stress we're under, whether we our genetics. There's all of these things that kind of come into play, especially when we first start on a carnivore diet. So I know, I've had I've had comments from people when I've put blueberries in my photos or my videos, or fermented vegetables. That's not carnivore. And as I've said, most of the carnivores that I'm aware of actually drink coffee, or probably drink coffee, and a lot of those that are commenting possibly drink coffee, and that's a bean, and it has plant toxins in it. And I still have this expectation and this kind of desire, this thing inside of me that wants to do carnivore perfectly and just get rid of all the plants, all the supplements. But every time I try to do that, my body just becomes a really difficult place to live in. So for me right now, I'm back having a few blueberries again in the evening, and I am drinking some herbal tea that I'm making with ginger and fennel seed and black seed to lower my histamine levels. I'm taking some supplements for my histamine levels, and throughout my carnivore journey, I've taken charcoal by the bucket load for the diarrhea, because I've got to be able to live my life, and be able to be at least somewhat kind of okay in my body and deal with my day to day. So my latest video, as I said, is about histamine, and that'll be going up. I've just recorded that one, so that'll be going up soon as well. And I'm talking about the experience that I had the other week, which was in my last video, which kind of made me realise that how much of a problem histamine is for me, and has got me doing a whole lot of digging into histamine. And I've kind of realised that there's been a major player with a lot of my problems throughout my life, I think, and definitely throughout the last 2 years on carnivore. And so that's part of the reason for going back onto some berries at the moment, and taking some supplements and drinking herbal tea, is because I have genetic susceptibility to histamine issues. I've got 3 genes, which I'm talking about in the histamine video, that can affect the breakdown of histamine and the histamine levels in my body. And so that's where I'm at. And so that kind of got me thinking about this whole, wanting to be the perfect carnivore and doing it all right, when your body's kind of needs some other stuff. And whether that's permanent or not, I don't know if I can turn those genes off or not. Whether I'm going to continue to need some supplements or something to keep my histamine levels down at different times. Probably not all the time, but depending on my diet, when you can kind of tell that histamine bucket's raising, there are herbs and things that you can use to drop it back down again. And so that may be me for the rest of my life. I don't really know. So that's what I wanted to talk about, was just the whole, wanting to get rid of plants at the expense of feeling okay. And the push from other people, you know, to saying that, you know, all you have to do is just eat meat and it's going to be healed. It's not always the case, and some of us just need some help, and plants can help. So plants are medicine and plants can help. And you know, you don't have to eat them in your diet as food, but they can definitely help if you've got histamine issues or other things going on. So yeah, so if you've got any comments or questions, pop those below and I'll get to those as soon as I can. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, and I thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you again another day. Bye for now.